Our film begins in December of 2014 with a girl named Adeline who travels by taxi to pick up her fake identity and passport. Her new name in them is Jennifer Larson and she is now 29 years old. Afterward, Adeline goes home and securely locks the door before entering. Inside, she sees her dog Reese. She tells her that they are moving to her grandmother's old house where things are much nicer. At this time, Adeline realizes she is running late for work, so she calls for a taxi and goes to the civil registry office where she is working. At the office, a colleague informs her that there are historical documents to be archived, which greatly pleases Adeline. She spends time watching footage from 1906 when an earthquake devastated San Francisco. After the city's reconstruction, they captured the first baby born in January 1908 at the San Francisco Children's Hospital, who happens to be Adeline herself, making the archival film about her. The archive also recounts a moment when Adeline and her mother were walking on the Golden Gate Bridge in 1929 and Adeline's hat flew off only to be retrieved by a handsome engineer named Clarence James, who later became her husband. 78 days later, Adeline married Clarence in San Francisco. 3 years later, Adeline gave birth to a daughter named Fleming after Adeline's grandmother. In 1937, Adeline's husband passed away due to the risk of his job. 10 months later, Adeline traveled to her family's beach house. However, on the way there, an unusual snowstorm caused Adeline to have an accident, resulting in her losing consciousness. At that moment, lightning struck her car, miraculously bringing Adeline back to life and enabling her to save herself from drowning. Now, Adeline has a flaw in her genes preventing her from aging. Over time, Adeline declares her perpetual youth to maintain her health, exercising and using creams or any excuse to avoid revealing her secret. A week later, Adeline got a speed ticket. The cop suspected her fake driver's license because her appearance didn't match the age listed on the license, which was 35 years old. So he seized her license and told her to bring her birth certificate when she came to retrieve it. Adeline decides to run away and went to San Francisco, where she accepted a clerical job at the medical school. There, she searched for any scientific explanation for her condition but found none. One day, federal agents seized her belongings to investigate her case, but she managed to dodge them. She gathered her belongings and informed her daughter, who now looks older than her. She asked her daughter to tell anyone asking about her that she was in Europe. Since then, she never settled in one place, changing her name, appearance, and residence every 10 years. After watching the archival footage, Adeline went home to prepare for a New Year's Eve party. At the party, she stumbled upon a picture of herself hung in the place, triggering memories of when it was taken. She then went to meet her friend who hadn't seen her in a while. At that moment, a man approached them, and Adeline figured out a couple of info about him based on his appearance, like being an artist and wearing an expensive watch passed down from his grandfather. There was a mutual admiration between them, and during the New Year's festivals, Adeline excused herself from a phone call, feeling embarrassed by the attention of an admirer. She decided to leave the party, feeling she had outgrown such things. Before leaving, she encountered the man who had been admiring her, named Ellis. She told him her name was Jenny and thanked him for his attempt to get to know her before walking away. The next day, she met her daughter, who was notably older than her, and they spent time chatting. The following day, Adeline went to work, where Elise unexpectedly showed up. She learned that he had donated valuable antique books worth $50,000 and threatened Jenny that if she didn't go with him, he would cancel the donation. Jenny agreed, and Elise told her he would take her to a place she had never been before. They went to an underground tunnel beneath the city where she saw a workboat they had discovered years ago. Curious, she asked how he made his wealth. Elise attributed it to luck. He had been a math professor at the college and spent his spare time applying mathematical equations to climate data analysis. His roommate recognized the potential, and together they founded a company, which they later sold for a considerable profit. When Elise asked her anything about herself, Jenny became tense and told him she had to leave because she would be late. So Elise left and walked with her. She informed him that she was going to move. This greatly upset him, and he told her he would tell her a joke, and if she left, she would go out with him again before she moved. When Elise told the joke, Jenny indeed laughed. Elise then invited her to dinner at his place the next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Afterward, Jenny went to the bank and requested to add a new address to her bank bank account under the name Susan, which would be her new name. While there, Adeline saw a picture of the bank's former manager and recalled their conversation when she became a partner at a company called Xerox, which was new at the time but is now well known. Days passed, and on Tuesday, Jenny went to Elise's house, surprised to find it unfinished. He explained that it needed some adjustment, which would take time, and he preferred to do them alone. They ate together, and Elise told her about his strong mother and his astronomer father, who was now retired. He told her how his father discovered a comet orbiting the moon, and every year at a certain time, Elise's father would wait for the comet to pass to prove his theory. Then Elise expressed his desire to know more about her, but Jenny insisted it was better not to and that she didn't want to talk about herself. They spent the night together. The next day, she told him she had to leave. Elise was having a problem at work, and the person he was speaking with was speaking Portuguese, which he didn't understand, so Jenny took the phone from him and easily spoke with the man in Portuguese, solving his problem, which greatly impressed Elise. Then she went to work, and on the way, she saw the chair of her old lover who used to sit on it. When she saw it, he held out a wedding ring to propose to her. She decided to leave him because of her condition. Afterwards, she cried as she remembered. Then she went home and found her dog Reese very ill, so she became tense and broke down. She rushed him to the clinic, where the doctor informed her that Reese had kidney failure and advised her to euthanize him rather than let him suffer. Afterward, she returned home feeling very sad and not responding to Elisa's numerous calls, cutting off all contact with him. She sat watching pictures of her dog, deeply affected. Later, as Jenny was walking down the street, she bumped into Elise, who knew her address from the library where she worked. She realized she was bothered that he had found out where she lived and told him she was going to move. Elise was shocked and walked away in opposite directions. Jenny moved from her place with assistance from her daughter Fleming. At that moment, Jenny broke down as she looked at her old pictures before the accident, feeling tired of cheating and lying to people. Her daughter told her that she should seek true love. Jenny confessed to her daughter that she had indeed met someone she loved but was harsh on him and left him. Her daughter came out with a plan for her to talk to him and apologize so they could get back together. Jenny went to work to apologize to him and informed a colleague that she wanted to meet him. The colleague then called him and told him that someone named Jenny wanted to meet him and apologize for her behavior the last time they met. If he forgave her and agreed to meet her again, she would take him to a place he had never been to before. Elise agreed, and they went to a strange place, which turned out to be an old drive-in theater where Jenny told him the story of the place. They spent the whole night talking and sitting inside one of the old cars. Elise mentioned to her that he had a party for his parents' wedding anniversary at the end of the week and asked her to come with him, and Jenny agreed. When they arrived, William, Elisa's father, called Jenny by the name of Adeline, which made Jenny nervous, realizing that her name was Jenny. William mentioned that she resembled Adeline, his old friend from the 1960s, and Jenny informed him that Adeline was her mother. William said that he had known Adeline back in the 1960s, and Jenny told him that her mother had indeed mentioned something about a young man called William she met back in the 60s before traveling to Paris. She also mentioned that her mother had passed away 6 years ago. Later on, they all go to their rooms to rest, but William was remembering his memories with Adeline. The first time he saw her was when her car broke down on the road, and he decided to help her. He fixed the car until it started working again, and they rode together in the car, spending 5 weeks together. Adeline then admitted her mistake to William and told him her real name was Adeline. William keeps recalling back memories with Adeline until the next morning. They all have breakfast together. Elise and Jenny tells a story of how they met each other. Afterwards, William continues to talk about Adeline, telling them that she encouraged him to leave medicine because he didn't love it and to study astronomy instead. Elisa's mother becomes upset with William talking about his old girlfriend and leaves the breakfast table. William follows her and tries to console her, telling her that he loves her because she cares so much about him. At night, the family gathers and plays a general knowledge game where it's well known in the family that William always wins this game. However, this time, Jenny wins. At that moment, Kiki suggests that Della will appear. Jenny asks who Della is, and Kiki explains that Della is the name of the comet her father discovered and is waiting to pass by the moon. Jenny realizes that William named his comet Della after Adeline's nickname. At that moment, Jenny feels overwhelmed and affected by William's love. At the end of the day, Jenny goes for a walk in the garden and finds William watching some stars, stargazing. She asked him why he named his comet after her mother. He tells her that both of them are similar to each other. Adeline disappeared completely like the comet exactly. Before leaving, she tells him that her mother loved him very much. The next day, Jenny finds the house empty and goes downstairs to look for them. She finds William there and asks him where everyone is. He tells her they went to the market. At that moment, he notices a bug on her hair, and when he removes it, he notices a distinctive mark on her hand similar to the one Adeline had. He rushes to the storage room and looks for old pictures of Adeline, confirming that Adeline had the same scar as Jenny. He goes after Adeline and tells her that he knew she was Adeline because of the scar on her hand. Jenny breaks down and tells him about what happened to her back then. She has no explanation for her current situation. He asks her if anyone knows her condition. She tells him that she hides her condition from everyone, but if she is gonna tell anyone about it, it would be his son Elise. William asks her not to run away from Elise like she did with him before and tells her she needs to live her life and stop running away. However, she leaves him and rushes home, gathers her belongings and writes a letter to Elise telling him that she is Adeline, and then escapes. Before leaving, William tries to stop her, but he couldn't. Later on, we see Elise coming out of the bathroom reading Jenny's response, feeling nervous. He goes downstairs to ask his father what happened. He was afraid they might have said something to upset her. His father realizes that she won't come back again and won't be able to explain to him why. Elise becomes upset and walks away trying to call Jenny, but she doesn't answer. Elise decides to leave the house. He asks William if he loves her or not. His son answers and tells him that his life doesn't mean anything without her. His father gave him the keys to his car so he can go after her and do what he couldn't do before. At night, on the way, Adeline remembers everything that happened in her life and decides to turn around and go back to Elise, but suddenly a car crashes, flips over, and Adeline is thrown out of the car. The car that hits her drives away. Suddenly, snow falls on the area where Adeline is lying. At that moment, Elise is on his way to Adeline and sees the accident. He runs to Adeline and tries to catch up with her. At that moment, Adeline goes through the stages she experienced years ago, which prevented her from aging. After 107 years, Adeline's heart stops for the first time. The ambulance arrives, revives her, and after 5 seconds, Adeline's heartbeat returns. She was taken to the hospital later after, where Elise is with her, and the doctor informs her that she is very well, which is strange. Elise goes to Adeline and tells her that he knows she ran away because he told her he loved her yesterday and that scared her. But Adeline breaks down and admits that she also loves him. She confesses her condition to him. Then Adeline's daughter arrives and tells Elise that she is Adeline's grandmother. But Adeline tells her that he knows everything, and she becomes very happy. Days pass and Elise lives a happy life with Adeline. At that time, Adeline prepares to go to a party with Elise and discovers that her hair has turned white. It's revealed that the accident and the conditions that happened with it, her heart stopping and reviving her using the electric charge, imitating the same circumstances she experienced decades ago, was the reason her genes returned to normal. At that moment, William's comet Della, which he discovered, also appears in the sky. And that's it. If you like this recap, hit like, share, and subscribe to our channel to keep seeing content like this one. If you have any requests or thoughts, drop them below in the comments section, and we will see you at the next one. Peace out!